Welcome back to Using LinkedIn to Get a Job. Today we're going to be looking at self-promotion. Have to admit this is my favorite part of the series because this can really make you. What would you rather have happen? Would you rather be going out and looking for employers, or would you rather have employers come looking for you? I think the answer is clear. So the question is, how do you get found on LinkedIn? In the last session, we ended with lawyers. We're going to begin with lawyers now. As an executive recruiter, or as an employer, you really do not want to look at someone's profile when you're deciding whether or not to consider them for a job. In other words, whether or not you're considering to bring them in as a possible candidate. Why? Because there's privileged or protected information on the profile. For example, from someone's name, you'll be able to guess their gender. You may be able to guess their religion or their ethnicity. From their photo, you'll probably know you will know their race, maybe their religion, and you'll have a pretty good idea of their age. All of these factors cannot be utilized in deciding who to interview for a job, let alone who to hire. So if an employer or a recruiter understands the law, they're not going to look at your profile. What they're going to care about is your location and your industry. For example, if I was looking for an accountant in Los Angeles, I would do a search of my first degree connections in greater Los Angeles who had put down accounting as their industry. And all I would do, I wouldn't look at any of their profiles. I would send each and every one of them a message. I'd begin with their name, and then I'd cut and paste in the same message to everybody. I wanted to let you know about a position I'm looking to fill in LA. The job description follows. If you're interested, I'd be delighted to receive your resume. If you know of any qualified candidates, please feel free to share this message with them. Thank you very much. I look forward to hearing from you. And that's it. I don't look at their profile. I don't care about the profile. If they're interested, they'll send me the resume. The resume is what I need. If they're not interested, they won't send me their resume. In either case, I don't need to look at their profile. If they're not interested, but they have a friend, I certainly don't need to look at their profile. It might be the friend's, but I don't care about the friend's profile. I care about their resume. There is never a reason for me to look at someone's profile until I have their resume, have interviewed them over the phone, and then have decided to have a face-to-face interview with them, either in person if they're in Greater New York or via Skype. But there's no reason for me to look at a profile. So the first way to get found is by having the correct location and the correct industry. If you are in the United States, do not put down United States as your location. Because if someone is looking for someone in a specific geographic area, and that will be the case most of the time, you won't come up. So if your location is United States, even though you're in Manhattan and we're blocks away from each other, you're not going to come up in a search because you didn't put down Greater New York City or New York, New York as your location. The same would probably be true for Canada, or any large country for that matter. So use your city as your location, not your country. Now, as a side note, posts, which we'll be discussing shortly. As you can see here, I have 30,500 plus followers of my posts. That's another way to be found. And it appears at the top of your profile. So don't underestimate the importance of writing posts. Now, there's something very simple job seekers can and should do, which is what this gentleman did. After your professional title, in his case, National Sales Account Manager, he wrote, open to new opportunities. If you put down open to new opportunities, looking for new opportunities, seeking new opportunities, you will be found because recruiters and employers who know the system will do a keyword search for new opportunities. And then you'll come up. So if I want to save time and not contact the hundreds of people who I have in my network who have put down consumer goods as their industry, and I just want to focus on job seekers, I'll do a keyword search, new opportunities, Greater New York City, industry, consumer goods, and the job seekers will come up. So include open to new opportunities on your professional title line, but there. If confidentiality is important, if you don't want your boss to know that you're looking for a job, don't do this, because the boss may see it. On your home page, you have three options that are important. If you look under my photo, on the left, directly below my photo, it says Share an Update. In the middle, it says Update a Photo, and on the right, it says Publish a Post. To share an update, and we're going to come back to this in a minute or so, it's like sending a tweet. In that box under Share an Update, you can write up to 140 characters if you want it to go out on Twitter, up to 190 if you just want it to go out on LinkedIn. You can send it to your first degree connections. You can send it to your first degree connections and your Twitter account. And you can also send it to everyone. I advise sending to everyone. You can upload a photo. It's simple to do. You just click on. The standard browse screen will open. I don't have to explain to you what to do. But the post, publish a post, is what is key. This is LinkedIn Pulse. You click on Publish a Post. This screen opens. You write a headline. If you want to include a photo, you can. I personally don't think it makes any difference. I never do. And it can also bring up copyright issues. So I wouldn't advise putting in a photo. You write a headline. There's no rhyme or reason to what works, and by works I mean secures the largest number of reads, of clicks, but I think that a number helps. The 5 things you need to know. Something on those lines seem to get a lot of reads. Then underneath, write your headline. You see there's a box. You can either type in your post directly, or you can cut and paste from Word. And this is what it looks like. The one thing missing from today's resumes, I'll save you the trouble. The one thing missing from today's resumes, a lot of people don't include their city and state of residence. Very important. Employers and recruiters want to know where you live. They don't need to know your street address. suggest Bronx, New York is good enough. Seattle, Washington. 123 Main Street, nobody cares about. City and state. At the end, at the bottom, have a little blurb about yourself. If you can include hyperlinks, so much the better. That will help your rankings in Google if you're taking people to a website. Also include tags. Now, LinkedIn provides tags. Tags, think of them as index subjects. And you start typing and something will appear that's close enough to what you would like. And for reasons that I do not claim to understand, sometimes based on the tags, LinkedIn will assign you to a specific group which can help secure readers. Other times they don't. It's one of the anomalies in the system, and as we discussed in the previous session, there are a lot of anomalies. I wrote a post on what a Gmail account says about a business owner. I thought it was just a fun, cute little post that maybe a few people would read and get a chuckle out of. I was wrong. After 2 hours, 435 people had clicked on it, 24 said they liked it, and there were 9 comments. The next day, I tweeted about it. 24 hours later, I had 4,311 clicks, 52 likes, 27 comments, 49 new followers, so I sent out a tweet. Then it went up to 9,100. I don't understand why, but that's what happened. And it's great. The result was people started to tweet about the post. They got the tweet from me, they retweeted it. This happened with the Gmail account, it happened with the one on the one thing missing from today's resumes. I got a message from one of my first degree connections. Great post. It's always nice to get fan mail, if you will. The key is to make sure that your post can be seen by everyone. So, go to the editing page for your profile. Right beside View Profile As, there's an arrow. If you put your cursor on it, there's a drop-down menu. Click on Manage Your Settings, and then make sure that your public profile includes posts. Now, if you want to be found, if you want to be known, send messages to your first degree connections. You can look for information on an employer if you have a job interview. Just don't ask a first degree connection for a recommendation. You'll be making a fool out of yourself. You can ask for help with a project. And when you ask for help with a project, you're paying someone a compliment. If you know someone who's a first degree connection, really know them, and you are connected with them to someone else, get that friend's permission to use their name, and in the subject line say, John Smith suggested I contact you. Then ask for information. It's a way to build your real world network. For example, let's say you're in construction and you're working on a project at a landmark building. There are an enormous number of regulations for dealing with landmark buildings. So contact someone with experience, ask them your question, and all of a sudden, you're building a relationship. That's what LinkedIn is all about, building relationships. Now, if you recall a few minutes ago, I mentioned updates. You want to share an update. So as I said, 140 characters will get it to Twitter. 190 is the maximum for LinkedIn. So what type of update can you send? You'd never want to sound like you're bragging. So if you are quoted in an article, and I'm going to show you how to get media attention in a minute. I was quoted in this article titled "The Top Resume and Cover Letter Mistakes." So I did not send out a message, an update saying, I was just quoted on Recruiter.com in an article, "The Top Resume and Cover Letter Mistakes." Sounds obnoxious. What I did was I sent out the message that you see. Not getting interviews? Learn what you may be doing wrong. And then I included the URL. This is something interesting. In the past, you were able to shrink the URL, and then you get what's called a mini URL, which meant that there were more characters that you could utilize to actually write a message. For some reason, can't do that anymore. But the minute you put in the full URL, the https://www.whatever, an image of the article of the website will appear. And that's what you see below. I didn't do that. The system did it. And then I put down share with the public and Twitter. In the past, it's been everything. Now it's public. And it went out. And when you share a message, sometimes you get responses. In this case, someone asked to join my network, and they didn't actually mention an update. They mentioned my videos on ehow.com. But it's the same thing. Here's one person who did respond to an update. It was about 10 things to immediately do on LinkedIn. And then he asked me if I knew of any jobs in Detroit. That's what the site's all about. Now, how do I get media coverage? And I've gotten a great deal. In the last 5 years, I've been quoted in almost 600 different articles across the United States, 23 foreign countries. And I'll be having a separate webinar, please look for it, on building your brand, and I'll go into greater detail then. But for right now, I utilize the site. It's free, helpareporter.com. It brings together sources and reporters. It's very easy to use. You will get press coverage. If I did, you will. Now, on July the 1st, a woman contacted me asking me to be on one of her webinars. It's a major website for attorneys. This was on July 1st, and she sent me this message. It wasn't sent through LinkedIn, it was sent through my website. And I thanked her, and she mentioned that she had read a comment that I had made, and that was why she was contacting me. So I asked her what article she was referring to. This one, from March 31st, 2014. So she found an article where I had been quoted in a publication called Get VoIP, which I had never heard of before. And over a year later, she's inviting me to be on a webinar. I was quoted in an article on July 3rd, 2015 on Cheat Sheet, also a site I'm not acquainted with, or I hadn't been until earlier in the year when they quoted me on Switching Careers. If you look at the bottom, the quote is, "Changing careers means past experience will not be considered with equal value to someone who has actually done the job." Career coach Bruce Hurwitz told the Cheat Sheet earlier this year. So I was quoted in the original article, and then I was quoted in a subsequent article. Here's another example. I had been quoted in a previous article on when you should consider taking a cut in pay. That article was picked up by USA Today. So from a small, relatively unknown website, I got into USA Today. My point is this. Don't pay any attention. It does not matter if you're quoted in the Wall Street Journal or on Cheat Sheet or Get VoIP. You never know what people will be reading, what's going to be picked up, how they're going to find you, how they're going to come to you. I have gotten more connections, more new clients. Here I'm talking about career counseling clients. From quotes in the unknown or on the unknown blogs or in the unknown, relatively unknown publications than from my quotes in the Wall Street Journal. So don't be a snob. Now, it can be a lot of work to inform your social media networks of your activities. There's a great site, it's free, hootsuite.com. You can schedule tweets and messages well in advance. I believe for the free site you can do up to 45 days in advance. Once a month I schedule all my tweets, and it takes about an hour, and I don't have to think about it. I will send out a special tweet if I am quoted in a newspaper, a magazine, on a website. You can send to, and this is what you see on the left, to up to 5 social media sites for free. And when you enter in the website, the URL, where the article is found, and this is also true, and this is very important for LinkedIn posts, the image will appear below. So there you see 5 of the most unexpected real-life career changes. If with LinkedIn post, your post does not appear, wait a day. Sometimes it can take 24 hours for that URL to go live. You'll see it on your profile. You'll be able to read it. A few people will find it. But until it goes live, don't tweet about it. And this is how you know if it's live, because the proper image will appear. If it doesn't specifically say the name of your post, don't tweet about it. But this is how I get the message out. And it works great. Something else you can do is go into groups. And you can start a discussion about a topic of interest to you. Or you can respond to other people's discussions. Some people even say that you should start your own group, and in that way become an authority. Because you don't always want to just send out updates about what you've done. You want to become a source for your profession. You want people to say, you know what? Jane sends out links to these great articles. She obviously is well connected. She obviously understands the industry. She obviously knows what's important. She's somebody who we might want to consider for a job. So raising your profile doesn't just mean self-promotion by promoting what you have done. Share valuable information. You can do that in an update, or you can do it in a group discussion, either by contributing to an existing discussion or starting a new one. Also being found, and this will be our next topic, is to have a full and complete profile. The more details, the better. Anything that makes it easier for you to be found, well, it makes it easier to be found. So you want to have a full and complete profile, and that is the topic of our next session. I want to thank you very much for watching. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And please watch all of the sessions in this series so you'll have a full and complete picture of how to utilize LinkedIn as part of an effective job search. Thank you very much.